Just see other things. Like the restaurant. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. Welcome to Senate October 1st. Start with prayer. Madison, please. God. Thank you for fire. Awesome. Now roll call. Shout out to my dear mother who gave me this question today. She watches every week from home, so I told her I would shout her out when she gave me the question. So obviously we all know that the Notre Dame Leprechaun is the greatest of all football mascots and all university mascots. But if you had to pick a other favorite college mascot, a strong number 2, what would it be? Michael Camilleri. Michael. Madison Denchfield. Stanford. Matthew Dunn.
These are reference too big.
Fair enough. Destiny Harris. Charlie Bacon. Charlie. Caitlin Curtins.
Oh, Wisconsin Badgers are full.
Richard Camus. Richard. Pat Thiessen.
Truman the Tiger from Mizzou.
Kyle Lochner.
Can't really comprehend a second.
Sounds cool. Annie Tomko. Luke Williams.
Evo the Longhorn.
Josephine Oladoy. Fair enough. Taryn Wilson. Original home of the Sam Hartman. Gotta appreciate that one. Michelle Savarino.
Rutgers Starlet Knights.
Edward Curry. Edward. Jack Brannigan's proxy, Henry Powell.
South Carolina Game Trucks.
John Gibbons. John. Adeline Clemmer. Adeline. Kate Rector.
Iowa Hawkeyes.
Anna Kate Carlisle.
Go Gator.
Oh, yes. Joey McClellan.
Hi, the Wolverine.
Connor Clement.
WKU's Big Red.
Nathan Ward. Nathan. Angelica Serna. Riley Evers.
The Duke Blue Devils.
Elena Rawson.
Monster University's airplane.
Ben Solom. James Colley. James. Kyle C.
Cocky.
Teo Awe. Laurel Hamilton.
I'm also going to enjoy coffee.
Z Davila. Gabriel Polanecki. Bella Vasquez. Molly Schwartz. Molly. Liddy Meister.
The Slew Billiken.
Caitlin Garcia.
Probably TT Horfrost.
Benton Fisher. Aaliyah Applin.
Cosmo the Junior.
Diego Gonzalez.
Arkansas Tops.
Leo Wong.
Florida Tiger. I don't know.
Kelsey Casella. Danny Ward.
Creighton Blue Jay.
Elijah Jones.
Northwestern Wildcats.
Sam Robinson.
Beat up Huskies.
Me, I like the orange man. He's really cute. That's also my mom's answer in case anyone was wondering. Jason Tootie. Joseph. Megan Klein. Megan. Jerry Bielhauer.
Syracuse's out of the orange.
Sonia Lumley.
Huddle for Oregon Duck.
And Mo.
Sparty. Michigan State Spartans.
Okay. Okay, great. We need a motion for the minutes. We'll now vote on the motion for the minutes. All those in favor? All opposed? Abstain? Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you guys. Okay, executive announcements. There's a panel discussion, Cultivating Hope and the Season of Creation.
And it will be in the Annenberg Auditorium on Thursday, so tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Father Dow will be leading that. There's going to be the South Bend Coffee Shop outside OSHAG on Friday, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Show up. And then the feast day of St. Francis of Assisi prayer vigil will be Sunday, October 5th at 7 p.m. and that will be at the Grotto. Awesome. Okay, today's the day. We are going to have our Celebrating Diversity workshop, and our wonderful MSBS senior fellows will be leading us. So, right. Okay. And just have this like, yeah. Once again. Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? Good. So much energy, I love it. I'm doing great. My name is Ned Nicola, and I'm one of the MSBS Senior Fellows. I live in the best hall on campus, which is Flaherty Hall. And we are here today to do some mind training, which is a microaggression intervention act.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm from Lions, not the best. And I'm also an MSPS Senior Fellow, and thank you guys for being here today. Today we're going to cover some a bit of some sensitive topics, so just be prepared to come in with an open mind and be ready to contribute with everything.
So this is about developing some community guidelines because we want this to be a safe space where everyone feels that they can share, be honest. So first, be present and engaged. Everyone here has something unique or some unique experience they bring to this session. So just please engage with other people as they're being willing to talk about things that are personal to them. Also, just out of respect, don't use your gadgets while someone else is talking about their experience or something that they've gone through. Just please be present for everyone in this room. Understand that this is a safe space, and we encourage you to practice trust and respect everyone's stories and opinions because everyone's stories are valid. Lastly, expect and accept any sort of discomfort that you might feel during the session. As Ashley mentioned, we're going to be going over some rather sensitive topics, and learning happens when you are in the learning zone. So be okay with being a little uncomfortable in this process.
All right, so just to start off, in small pairs or groups of 3 or 4, please describe one of your earliest memories about race. This is just an exercise to get you guys thinking about just what we're going to do. So go ahead and speak in those small groups for about 2 minutes, and then we'll go back.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you for thanks for that. Does anyone feel comfortable enough to share one or two thinking conversation?
Sorry. Yeah, well, I could describe like one of my earliest memories. Growing up in the Central Valley, California, it's a very diverse place. One of my earliest memories where I noticed that I'm a mixed race individual was I was walking down a road with my mom. My mom's Black, and by a retirement home, and a man had gotten out of his home and told us like, "Get out of here," N-words. And so that was one of the first time I really realized my race and like who I am. But obviously, like a lot of people have different experiences where they don't even notice like race or even have an early memory, where for my situation there's been extreme experiences. So I think it really varies from person to person.
For sure. Is there anyone else who'd like to talk?
I remember in grade school there was this girl who would bully people. I think she was mixed, but I always remembered her as a bully, and then she left after like first grade. But then I ended up going to high school with her, and I found out in high school that she was such a bully because she was being bullied by other people.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, please.
I mean, from a slightly different perspective, I kind of think that to a certain extent, if you're born blind into a decent situation, you're kind of born colorblind to a certain extent, you're not aware of it happening. And the first things I can kind of remember is like, we learned about MLK and his famous speech in Washington and the movement in the 60s, the civil rights movement, and how Rosa Parks refused to go to the back of the bus and all these things. Like you learn about this society where he said, yes, we're all equal and we fought for this. You learn about this equal society, and then you go on and you see more and more that we're not living up to that. Like we keep trying to raise people in that situation. And I increasingly see that people who have been raised in that situation are falling through it themselves.
Thank you.
So we'll go on. Thank you guys for sharing. So now that we've had that quick little exercise, we're gonna have a few more of those like dynamics of like small group conversations. But for now, here's a quick overview of what the workshop will consist of. So we're gonna go over a few key terms and definitions. What types of microaggressions there are, how you can see them in like your life, or how you can see them even here on campus or just outside of campus. And then also how you can respond and kind of counter being an agent of microaggression or being the receiver of a microaggressions. And we like to call that the Raven method. It's the newest solution we have as of now to like really reflect and kind of like deflect microaggressions from happening in the first place. And then lastly, we'll do a few reflections.
So we're gonna go off, we're gonna talk about some key terms, and I know a lot of them look kind of similar, so we're gonna break it down. So first, and probably the one you've probably heard about the most, and also the title of today's training, microaggressions. So these are verbal and nonverbal assaults directed toward underrepresented groups, often carried out in subtle ways, so they're not like exactly super overt, they're really subtle, and sometimes they're woven into society, so they just impact how we act unconsciously. Next level, we have micro assaults, and these are very conscious, intentional actions, like using racial slurs, displaying swastikas, things like that, to deliberately show prejudice and discrimination. And then we also have micro invalidations. And this is communication that subtly excludes or like negates someone's thoughts and feelings. So like if someone talks about like a racial experience that they've had, some sort of discrimination or prejudice, and then you just kind of like nullify it, like downplay it, and kind of invalidating their lived experience. And that can also be a very, very harmful thing. Following along now, we have micro insults. So these are verbal and non-verbal communications that subtly convey rudeness and insensitivity, and they're meant to demean a person's racial heritage or their identity, their culture, their customs, and sort of who they are. We talked about this, someone actually just mentioned this a little bit now, but colorblind racism, and its notion that racism today operates that we live in a post-racial society and everybody's colorblind and race doesn't really exist, and that therefore because race doesn't really like matter that much, it can't have that much of an impact. But we'll talk a little bit about today is like how that can still have very, very real impacts on people. And then all of that kind of sums up to racial battle fatigue. And that's when an individual is encountering countless racial microaggressions, insults, everything like that. And it becomes physically and emotionally tolling on that individual. And that starts to like impact how that individual who's receiving all of those insults and microaggressions operates in day-to-day life. So we have some example of microaggression because sometimes it can seem kind of meta. So we have some examples of what it actually looks like. So one, we have examples of assumptions of criminality when people assume like minorities are dangerous. For example, you've probably seen this a lot on TV shows, but if you have like maybe a black man is in the store and people think he's gonna steal, so they're like following him more closely, or like people are like clutching their purses. That is another assumption of criminality. We also have exoticization, and this is essentially like the objectification of an individual, like saying you have a fetish for Asian men, or saying like someone's like so exotic, really kind of just demeaning who they are as a person and reducing them to like this fantasy or idea that you have of them about that racial group. Third, we have assumptions of intellectual disparity. So when people of color are assumed to be less intelligent or capable than others. So overemphasizing that like, oh my gosh, this minority is so articulate. Like I'm so surprised about how well they speak. And then lastly, we have pathologizing cultural values. So it's when people of color are criticized for their cultural communication styles and how they dress. For example, telling a minority to like get rid of their accent and basically telling them like, you have to act in the way that I do.
All right, so now how would you respond if you are a witness or a receiver of a microaggression? It can be really overwhelming and really complicated at the moment. So it's always important to like take a moment, take a deep breath and be present. So if you are the one receiving like the microaggression, then you need to pause and like ask yourself, like, did this happen? Like process your emotions in a healthy and safe manner, and make sure that that you are like surrounding yourself with like a safe group of like friends and family that you can rely on, and also a trusted adult. You can be sure to let them know like, hey, this happened, I'm not sure how to respond. We have a list of resources that we will share with you all, and that will be like your go-to individuals and departments for that.
So when you encounter a microaggression, like Ashley said, it can be kind of jarring, but when you realize that it is a microaggression, now your first step is next to think, how should I, as an individual, respond to this microaggression? And there's a couple of risks and questions you should ask yourself to consider the best path to take. So one, if I respond, could my actual physical safety be in danger? Maybe the agent of microaggression or whatever the situation may be, it could be dangerous for you to actually say something. So that can have an impact on how you respond. If I respond, will the person become defensive? So again, it depends on how close are you with the person. Are they like a random coworker? Are they your friend in class? Just keeping that in mind when you're addressing these types of things. And that leads into number 3, how will it affect my relationship with this person? Number 4 is a big one. If I don't respond, will I regret not saying something? So that's something that you personally have to think with and think, is it worth me saying something over this? Will I regret not involving myself in this? And lastly, 5, if I don't respond, does that mean that I accept or I'm complicit with the behavior that was said?
Yes.
Guys, just in respect of like our presenters, don't be on your computers or like cell phones or anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Alright, so with that note, let's go ahead and go into our small groups once more. You can go ahead and speak to a different set of people and kind of speak to the room. Describe how you responded to an incident of racism that you either witnessed or that you like happened to yourself. We'll give that about 2 minutes. Yes.
Do a question. Like right now. Oh my god. Each other were getting the turtles, I also don't. It's right there.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I think a little bit. So essentially, I'm the kind of person that's a little bit like more introverted. So whenever I like, it's rare to experience this in my experience overt racism.
Yeah.
Mostly it happens when there's like a large crowd of people at football games or tailgate. You might hear a comment, and it's like you internally you don't want to like put yourself in a dangerous scenario to kind of like step up and say something or like intervene, right? Because you don't want to put a target on your back, but it's also the case where you don't want to like just let it slide, but not like, you know, just like say, like be implicit in like that racism as well, essentially. But I do make exceptions where like it's like in an inner circle, like friends, family, they do make comments that are like demeaning of this demographic of people, and you have to like call that out. So that's my like go to like if I ever have like a friend or a family member to say something crazy, essentially, I have to tell them like, no, that's not like accurate, that's not real, and I explain why, you know. So that's kind of like how I kind of like it depends. Like if it's like a friend or if it's just like a random person that's acting like belligerent, then it's like that's how I adjust my kind of interaction with it. Because you know, you kind of have to like internalize, because I'm a Black person in America, right? I don't want to like put a target on my back, you know, by addressing comments or whatever in this country. But also it's just like, again, can't just let everything slide just because of that. So that's kind of how I try to navigate it.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel like that's super insightful. We do have a few resources to kind of like respond to like how would you react in like a larger setting, like who do you go to, what resources are there out there. So we'll get to that soon. Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else who is comfortable share? All right, well, that's okay. We'll move on to our next activity. Okay, so how do you respond? We have the Raven method. It stands for like a 5-step approach that you can all like try to incorporate more when you encounter forms of microaggression. No matter like how severe it is. This is a very like laid out like guide to help you navigate your feelings, how to like respond, and how to like still keep that connection with the person who is being the agent of microaggression. So number 1, we have redirecting the conversation or interaction. So you can do this. This is a more subtle approach. When you hear like a friend say something that's a bit like iffy, you redirect that conversation because you don't want others to like continue and feed into that. The second approach is you can ask probing questions. That would be like asking for clarification. You might have misinterpreted that, or they just probably said something they didn't mean. And that would like get their gears like turning into and looking into a new perspective of like, oh, I see why you might have understood it that way. The third approach is values clarification. This is when you kind of use your position here as a Notre Dame student. You say, okay, at Notre Dame, we kind of abide by Catholic social teaching, and Catholic social teaching pretty much tells us that we are striving for an inclusive, safe, and like justice and all of these like peaceful approaches to our like lives, our academic life, our personal lives, and everything. So that's when you kind of just reiterate those values and you say, we both have that in common. Let's try to work on it together. The next approach would be offering concrete next steps. That's where you can like direct, directly tell them like, here are a few resources that I think that you could use, and we could both like, again, work on like kind of navigating this obstacle together. Go through that more in depthly. So redirecting the interaction is kind of like when you don't want to continue that conversation. So you say, oh, let's go get like a soda or something. So that's more like you're giving them a heads up. Like, I'm not comfortable with the conversation you're having. So let me be, I won't feed into this. I won't be just a regular bystander. Let's go ahead and like work on that. Second approach, another example, ask probing questions. One of our past participants in the mind training, they actually had an experience where they were like in line for like a dorm event, and they were having food. It was like taco night, and the student is like identifies as like Hispanic or Latin. So the person behind, which was actually the RA, I believe, was like, oh, we're gonna have tacos tonight. This is a regular day for you, right? And rather than like responding in like an angry way, the student just kind of looked at the RA and was like, oh, what did you mean by that? Like, why'd you make that comment? And the RA was immediately flustered, like gets red, doesn't know how to respond, because he knew that like, oh, I overstepped a boundary. I said something that I really should not have. So saying just clarifying questions like that really kind of doesn't put them on a spot where it's like, why, like you're not really attacking that person. You're just kind of asking like, oh, what did you mean? That's a really good approach to kind of navigate that awkward space. Values clarification, we kind of already went over that. So just kind of reiterating that we're all a part of the Notre Dame community. We're all like students here. We're all just trying to kind of have a successful and fun time here. So doing our best to call back onto those values that we all share is really key, and will help you navigate those difficult conversations with your friends. And then,
Yeah, so you also want to emphasize your own thoughts and feelings. Typically an agent of microaggression may like fail to recognize that the racial microaggression actually like made you feel bad. To them, like they're just kind of saying it, because we talked about how it's so often just like woven into society, people don't really think about it. So emphasizing the people, like the hurt it causes to people who are directly present or to who it was targeted to. So when you're intervening, it's important not only to empathize with those who were targeted, but also your own thoughts and feelings about the harm that was done. You may feel like sad or like disappointed that another individual would say that. And then when you're talking to somebody about these feelings, you want to use a lot of I statements. Like Ashley said, you don't want to be like on the offense, seem like you're trying to attack someone. So really emphasizing how what somebody said made you feel is kind of the best way to go about it. And then next step. So we'll go more into this on later slides, but essentially kind of providing the next steps for what the agent of microaggression can do to correct their behavior or change their behavior and see what can be done to this.
Yeah, so Raven, that is the 5-step method that is like, it'll help you navigate those conversations for sure. So remember redirecting, all that good stuff. And at the end, Raven is meant to like empower people to speak up, whether in your small groups or in a larger setting. It's a model that you guys can try to implement more regularly throughout whenever you see something like that happening. And it's a great model to make sure that you're not just a bystander doing nothing, that we all can do something. And here, please feel free to take a picture of their resource page. We can also share that with the leaders over here if you guys would like. But you can reach out to the MSPS office or any of these offices listed here to like report an incident that you've seen or that you've encountered. I would highly recommend you guys kind of flag speakupnd.edu because that is where you can submit any anonymous like message or post, and that'll automatically like be like flagged in our system, and the appropriate like personnel will become involved and they will take charge of the like situation at hand. So like if you see someone but you don't really want to call them out and you don't want to put yourself out there, then Speak Up ND is an anonymous way for you to kind of like be that bystander that is doing something. Yeah.
And here is our, thank you guys first of all for listening to us. That was good. Appreciate it. If all of you guys please fill out the evaluation form. This is a great time for your phones to all be out right now. So, because this is how we can figure out how to make these sessions as helpful as possible, as informational as possible, and as engaging as possible. So please fill that out, and that'd be greatly appreciated. And we thank you guys so much for your time. We hope you're able to talk to new people and you learned a little bit about, you know, our campus and our student body. And thank you guys so much. So much, guys. We really appreciate. Have a great work you guys do. I get my mind. Because that I said your favorite. Feel free. I love there's so many other things there's even staff. Staff 25, 26. Also have a favorite remember to government appointment the most time. You have to be the current member of student government with whom I spend the most time.
Okay, so we don't have anything in general orders, but we do have 3 items in new business.
I would request that the Senate move items A through C from new business to general orders. Just because there are a couple committees that Judicial Council wants to get up and running, like the election council and committee of so.
Move items A, C to reorders.
Is there any objection to the unanimous consent to move items A through C into general orders?
Yes, I object to moving the Committee on the Constitution nominations up from new business to general orders because one of the nominees has a history of unprofessional behavior towards women.
Okay.
I object to the same issue on the same.
Point of inquiry.
He's proxying for a senator that left.
Okay.
Okay,
Are you allowed to like proxy mid-meeting?
We could double check on that.
It's not important, I'm just curious.
Quite a bit. Can we ask more about this possible situation?
Yeah, we're not in questioning or in debate, so we can't really talk about it as of right now, and there is an objection for item C. So is there any objection from moving items A and B into general orders? Seeing that there is none, we'll move.
It would probably make more sense to do B and C at the same time, but if you guys would like to do A and B, then we can go for it.
Wait, so you're saying you want someone to object to it?
No, I was just saying it makes more sense to me.
I'll object if you want.
It's all good.
Okay, seeing that there are none, we're gonna move. Seeing that there are none, we're gonna move items A and B into general orders. Okay, we'll be on it, yeah. And it'll just be, see, we'll be on there for next week. Okay. Item A, so the election council nominations. Either need a motion to dispense.
Motion to dispense with the reading.
We will now vote on the motion to dispense with the reading. All those in favor? All opposed? Abstain? The reading is dispensed with. We are now in questioning.
Motion to move out of questioning and into debate.
We will now vote on the motion to move out of questioning into debate. All those in favor? All opposed? Abstain? We are now in debate.
Motion to move out of debate and into a vote.
Second.
We will now vote on the motion to move out of debate into a vote. All those in favor? All opposed? Abstain? We will now vote on the election council nominations. All those in favor? All opposed? Abstain? It passes. Yay! Come on, guys. Yay! Okay. Alrighty, item B. In order to.
Motion to dispense with the reading.
We'll thank you. You now vote on the motion to dispense with the reading. All those in favor? All opposed? Abstain? The reading is dispensed with. You're now in questioning.
Just could you give like a brief overview
Yeah.
of what changes you made and in mind?
Yeah, no, of course. So right now, both the student senate bylaws and the judicial council bylaws govern the operations of the Committee on the Constitution, and they are almost like textually like identical. Like the difference is one sentence in section 7.5 and an additional like clause in the judicial council bylaws. That talks about the deputy parliamentarian taking notes during a meeting. And so all that I'm doing is taking the like 2 sentence additions that are in the judicial council bylaws and adding them to the student senate bylaws because it's much more accessible there. And then I can, as a judicial council officer within the organization, remove those from the judicial council bylaws. So only the student senate bylaws govern the Committee on Constitution instead of having 2 slightly different rules for the committee in 2 different places. So that way, just kind of centralizing those, if that makes sense.
Got it. So it's being moved to the Senate bylaws to.
Is this to unexcused absences new, or is it also in the judicial council bylaws?
It's in the judicial council bylaws right now, and so right now the Committee on the Constitution follows both the judicial council bylaws and the student senate bylaws. I think that it'd be better if it was just all on the student senate bylaws, and so that's the intention of moving it to the student senate bylaws, just to make it all in one spot.
Motion to move out of questioning and into debate.
Second. We're now vote on the motion to move out of questioning into debate. All those in favor? All opposed? Abstain? We're now in debate.
Motion to move out of debate and into a vote. Second.
We're now vote on the motion to move out of debate into a vote. All those in favor? All opposed? Abstain? We will now vote on SO 252608 in order to amend the procedures of the Committee on the Constitution. All those in favor? All opposed? Abstain? Okay, pass it. Okay. Awesome. Okay, that's it. There's an item in new business, but that will be for next week in general orders. Okay, announcements. Anybody in Senate?
If you came in late today, can you please see me after Senate so I can make sure to mark you down correctly? Just give me your name. I don't know everyone's faces right now. Thank you.
So this back Acoustic Cafe is back outside on every lawn tomorrow from 8:30 to 10:30. We'll also be having cupcakes from Cutest Cupcake. And then as Tony mentioned, we're doing the national or the coffee stop and thing on Stop Quad by Oshag on Friday.
Okay, no more announcements.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Now vote on the motion to adjourn. All those in favor? All opposed? Abstain? Okay, awesome. See you guys next week.
Even though.
Hi, Caroline.
Hi.